Hey guys, and welcome back to Twisted Plastic RC. Today we are going to replace the rear knuckles on the vehicle just to make them a little stronger and a little bit flashier. So we're putting the Hot Racing rear knuckles in there. I've already preset these with the ball joints there for the camber links to hook onto. Of course, that's pretty simple. You just take it out with a 3/16, put it back in, tighten it down, and of course you're screwing into aluminum, so don't make it too tight. One other thing we did decide to do in the middle of all this is we're replacing the bearings with sealed bearings, which I've already put in these new ones. So this is what your bearings will look like otherwise, but we're replacing them with the Fast Eddy sealed bearings that we got on hobbytown.com. And there is two on each knuckle, so you have the exterior one and then you have an interior one. So we've already put those in, but let's go ahead and disassemble the car, show you exactly how far we need to take it down and get this thing going. So we will need to take the wheel off. So to get the wheel off, we do need a 2.5 hex. So we've got that handy. For our suspension that we put on last time, we're going to need a 1.5 hex. And then we'll also need a Phillips 1 for some other screws in there. And it's really just the set screws. And then we're going to be pushing some pins out. So seems like a lot, but it's not. Just follow along and we'll get you through this. To take the wheels off, you need to make sure you hold the wheel down while you're doing this so the wheel doesn't turn. A lot of the times your hub will come out with the wheel. This one did not, so there's not a problem. We just need to make sure we take that off and don't lose it. Always set your screws off to the side or use a magnetic tray, whichever suits your fancy. So that's everything we need to take off for the wheel. We'll go ahead and get the other one off while we're over here. Now that we got our wheels off, I've decided we're just not going to take the shocks off. We should be able to do the work without taking those off. We will take this set screw out and the pin behind it, and then also the camber link we're going to have to pop off of there. Not a huge deal at all. Let's get into it. We'll need a Phillips 1 for the set screw. Now that our set screw's out, we need to push the pins out from the back. I like to just use a body pin to push those out. So we'll kind of set this on its side a little bit. And there's a hole right back here. We're going to just push that pin through. I do recommend, if you don't have extra body pins laying around, maybe don't use the ones for your car on it, just in case they bend, or just get some extra ones. So we'll use our needle nose to pull those all the way back out. And then this will come free right here, along with your axle. So we're going to pull the axle out. The axle's in there pretty tight. Now, a lot of the times your bearing will come out with it. Remember, we've already replaced the bearings in the new rear knuckles, so we can just pull this off and scrap it or keep it for some other project. And then the last thing we need to do is pop this knuckle off of the camber link by just twisting upwards. Not a big deal at all. Then, of course, remember to put your bearing or your axles back in. And again, they fit snug, so it just popped out my other new bearings. So make sure we push that back in all the way. And then we can reattach this camber link. And you can generally just push that in by hand. Obviously, it took me a little longer than I would have liked, but it's in there and it works. Next step is to make sure your drive shaft is back into the differential. That way you don't have to redo these steps. And then we'll set this somewhat in place. We'll take our tiny pins back and we'll get those started through here. Now, if you watch the first video of replacing the control arms with the RPM ones, these are a little less tolerant than stock. So they do take a little bit to push through. Once you find the hole, it'll push right through. There are two sets of holes on both the stock and the new ones. So I use the bottom hole just to keep it where the stock was. And then on the top here, you do have two different settings that you can use, or three total. So you have a positive camber, neutral, and then a negative camber. I just keep it right in the middle, kind of like stock was, so no big deal there. Now that that's in, we can put our set screw back in, and then we'll get to the other side. All right, and with the power of editing, we have put that in super fast. So we are ready to put all of this back together, putting the wheel back on. And always make sure you put your hub back on first. Put your wheel in place. And then you'll put your screw back in. We're just going to do the exact same thing on this side. We'll fast forward it and then we'll be done with this video. All right guys, so with the power of editing, we have finished putting everything back together. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions at all, of course, drop them in the comments below. Thank you again for watching, and stay tuned. Next time we're going to do the front hub carrier group and the front knuckle. And then I don't know what we're going to do next. We'll talk about that on the next video. Thank you for watching.